This is Sports Talk with Playeragent3. I have a special guest today. She's a former NC State Wolfpack guard, Raleigh native, and a Millbrook High School legend. Kai Crutchfield, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. I'm glad you're able to come on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it seems like yesterday you were giving buckets in high school. I saw you play a couple of times over at Millbrook High School. But I want to start off with you talking about your childhood growing up in a home where your father actually played. He played college football, and he also had a stint in the NFL. So kind of talk about how that was growing up in that environment.
Yeah, so I mean, him being a D1 player, he definitely knew what it took to perform at the D1 level. So, at a young age, he saw the potential that I had, and then he also told me, hey, this is your goal, this is something that you really want to do, this is the effort that you have to put into it. And I mean, it wasn't easy, and he says you can't coach effort, and if it was easy, then everyone would be doing it.
When did you actually pick up a basketball, or was it a thing of, you played all sports when you were younger? When did you fall in love with basketball?
I would say, so my first love of sport was actually track. I started running track when I was maybe 4 or so. But basketball, I started playing upward, I think when I was 7, around that age. And I was kind of mad because, at upward, you can't really take the ball from people. They say, hey, not yet. But I think going into, I might have been like maybe 10 years old when I joined like a legit AAU team called the Garner Flames. And that's when I loved the team camaraderie behind it. Because, when you run track, you have a team, but you run as an individual. So I'd say then when I was about 10 years old is when I really fell in love with it.
Did you growing up in your household, did you ever feel like a sense of pressure, being that your father was an athlete? And when did you know that your father actually played on the highest level as an athlete?
So as far as pressure, I would say not really. My parents allowed it to be my decision what I did, and we come from athletic genes, so it wasn't too hard to fall in love with it. So they kept it fun, but at the same time they kind of had constructive criticism when it came to discipline on my end and accountability on my end. And with him playing at the highest level, I think it kind of hit me when around the age where I fell in love with basketball, because people started saying, oh my God, you play for the Redskins and the Jets. And my mom told me when I was not even 1 yet, I actually flew to, I think, New York or my nursery was set up in Virginia in the Redskins, near the Redskins Stadium. But I don't think it really hit me until I started understanding kind of how it felt to love a sport. When I was younger, it was awesome. It was fun and everything, but me really falling in love with it, I say that's when I started seeing and understanding that he played at the highest level.
Okay. Now you had jump into high school. You had an amazing career at Millbrook High School. Talk about those 4 years and how, being one of the elite athletes at Millbrook prepared you for college.
I say it was, I'm not gonna lie, going into my freshman year, I was super nervous. I mean, I wasn't just gonna, walk in and say, oh yeah, I'm starting as a freshman. So that was definitely, it was an eye-opener. But then because of the team I played with, like you said, we had a good run, we had good seasons. I'd say that prepared me, along with some different types of adversities too, to play. I feel like I'm not really answering the question, but I don't know.
You're fine.
But I mean,
your experience.
Say it again.
I said, this is your experience at Millbrook High School. So
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I played with probably half of the team went to East Millbrook, was where I played middle school. So we had already had team chemistry. On top of that, some of those girls also played with the Garter Flames with me. So yeah, that team chemistry was good. And of course, school was good. AB honor roll student had to be. My parents always said no books, no ball.
right.
If my grades weren't good, then I wasn't playing basketball. So I made sure I was, I guess you say a jack of all trades when it came to stuff off the court.
Mm-hmm. Now talk about recruiting in terms of, high school. Again, you had an amazing career, so I'm sure the college coaches were knocking at your door. When did that start for you, and when did you seriously consider playing college basketball?
So it started for me in 8th grade. I was on a great national team. We won the national championship for our 8th grade year, our summer. As far as college basketball, I don't know. It was just like I knew. It's almost like when I understood that basketball could, get me into college, full scholarship. That's when I was like, yep, this is going to be, my platform that I'm going to use to take me to the next level, regardless of if I play professional. I'd say my end goal was always go to school to play basketball on a full scholarship. And yeah, recruiting started in 8th grade. My first few offers were South Carolina, A&T, Wake Forest, and NC State were my first few that summer.
So if you hadn't chosen NC State, what was the school that was right there?
I would say it was close. It's gonna be funny for the people that watch this, but Maryland, if they wouldn't have gone to the Big Ten before, I went on the official visit and done more recruiting with them, then I'd say they were a close matchup. So yeah, I say NC State and Maryland were close. I have family in Maryland, so I'm a big family person, but by far NC State won. Mm-hmm. Go Pack.
now you mentioned North Carolina A&T. Any other HBCU schools recruit you, being that HBCUs are being highlighted right now with the whole Deion Sanders thing? Did you actually consider an HBCU school, A&T, when they recruited you, or you just was flattered that they reached out to you and were interested in you coming to A&T? Did you take that? Did you give that any thought?
I mean, I was definitely flattered, considering I was, in 8th grade, 12, maybe 13 years old at the time. Just knowing that a college was interested in already wanting me at that young age to come to their university. I didn't really have in my mind, I want to go to an HBCU or I have to go to PWI. It was more so, I just want to try to play at the highest level of basketball. And for me, I felt like the ACC was, the best conference. I still believe it's the best conference for women's basketball. Mm-hmm. So I worked hard and did the best I could to get there.
Mm-hmm. Now you ultimately chose NC State. You got the best of both worlds. You're from Raleigh, and you got a chance to play in front of family and friends. What was that like, being able to stay home and have your mom, your dad, your brother and your family, getting the opportunity to see you play?
Oh, it was great. Even in high school games, I probably had about 10 people there. So it's just a family thing. We all support each other. And same with my brother. We had maybe 15 people at his game, and we tailgated and everything, at his game yesterday. So, we have family dinners on Sundays. It's just a thing that we've always done. If I were to go far, it would have been kind of out of whack. I feel like I would have been out of whack, but being able to see after a win or a loss, or, me having a good game, shooting wise, whatever the case may be, it was great just being able to walk out from the locker room and walking upstairs to give, multiple family members a hug, and then us just go out to eat, kind of get my mind off everything. So I say it was huge. And not even do they not only went to, the home games, they traveled. They went to Notre Dame, South Bend, they've gone to Miami, Clemson, they've gone to Bahamas, Mexico, Hawaii. So I mean, we rode deep. We definitely rode deep.
So I gotta ask you this: playing in the ACC, what was it like when you first stepped foot playing Carolina at Carolina and playing Duke at Duke?
Playing Carolina at Carolina. Okay.
So what was that feeling like as a freshman?
As a freshman, I'd say at Carolina, I was like, man, I never knew that just because I wore red, someone could just despise me so much. But I knew what it was coming in, the rivalry. So it was definitely, I had a few butterflies. I'm not gonna lie, I have a few butterflies before every game, regardless on if it's, ACC championship or, just a preseason game. And I feel like that kind of shows that, I care about how I perform and still kind of have that love for it. But yeah, definitely butterflies. Duke is so weird because, they do like the, like when you're standing right there out of bounds. And I'm just like, this has to be illegal. They shouldn't be this supposed to be. But yeah.
Okay. So while at NC State, you guys had a lot of success going to the Sweet 16 a couple of years. Talk about, just playing in the NCAA tournament, the pressure of playing in the NCAA tournament as well as getting to the Sweet 16. What was that like for you?
I say the pressure, I feel like because NC State's NC State, we always had a target on our back. So I don't want to say it was something new for us to have pressure on us, but as far as media and, the rankings, the bracket, I felt that a little bit, but I knew each step, just play the next game like it's your last game. And that's how my parents have always kind of told me, because you never know what may happen, God willing, in the game. So just try to play everyone like it's your last. And I mean, of course, you got the hype videos where, you got the nice NCAA logo and stuff, and you got us winning the ACC championships right on the court. So if anything, I feel like the pressure is good pressure and more of a motivation, just because I know my freshman year, we hadn't been to the Sweet 16 in a while. And then this past year, the Elite Eight, it had been a very long time. So I think we used the pressures like a good thing.
Now, I gotta ask you this question. It seems like South Carolina is kind of the monster now in women's college basketball, but UConn, I'm sure you played against UConn during your 4 years at NC State. What is it about those teams to where they're undefeated year in and year out, and they're winning all these national championships? Did you see anything from UConn that normally put them over the top from, some of the other college basketball teams?
Honestly, I feel like I know we could have beat them. I feel like the circumstances, a lot of people have different opinions on this, but as a number one seed, the circumstances should have been a little different as far as where we played. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough. Give me your most memorable moment. Your 4 years at NC State. What was your most memorable moment?
Oh.
Or one.
Say it again.
Or one of your most memorable moments.
One of the most memorable moments. I would say my Maryland game. I believe it was my junior year. I think it was my junior year. We had just got back from Hawaii from the Thanksgiving tournament, and we had played Texas and a whole bunch of other teams, 3 other teams in Hawaii. And we came back, and our next game was the ACC Big Ten Challenge. and people were talking to the coach like, dude, you're crazy to come basically off of like a basketball vacation and go straight into Maryland. But I ended up having a really good game, played really good defense. I feel like that was one of my best all around games as far as like defense, offense, stat sheet, like that.
Who would you say the best player you played against in the ACC? Your 4 years, who would be that person who you would say, yeah, this person is
player? That's a great question. Best player in the ACC. I'd say for, as in like on consecutive years, like me being able to go against them year, I say Asia Shepherd. And it's crazy because like we're like cool now. So we just have like a respect for each other. Great shooter, great, leader on the court, great love for the game, all of the above. I mean, she's just like a cool person, but she also has some skill. And I mean, she was on a WNBA championship team as a rookie. So yeah, I don't know if she'll ever see this, but shout out to you, Shep.
Speaking of the WNBA, at the end of your career, did you was that something that you wanted to do, play in the WNBA or even overseas? Did that ever creep into your mind?
For WNBA, if I would have gotten the opportunity to go to a training camp or something, I would have done that. I had a few opportunities to go overseas, but for me, I felt like my love for the game was staying home and just giving back to the kids. Again, I'm super big on family, and just the thought of missing my brother's whole football season, mom's birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Like, I'm not gonna say there was any cons in going overseas, but I saw the list of pros was a lot longer to stay at home than to go overseas.
Okay. Staying on this WNBA theme, I wanted to get your thoughts about this because, right now there's a lot of talk about WNBA salaries compared to NBA salaries. What do you think about, the salaries in the WNBA compared to the what the guys are making in the NBA?
Yeah, I think it's an issue that has been addressed, still needs to be worked on. But I think there was a graphic that I saw a few months ago, and it was like Candace Parker, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, and maybe a couple other people were making maybe like a couple $1 million. And then LeBron James had just signed a contract for like $100-something million just himself. So you got a whole bunch of veterans, amazing players, like Hall of Fame players that are all listed in this one group. And you got one NBA player that is making like double, triple of all of them combined. I feel like that's just something that needs to be worked on. And it just sucks to suck. I mean, it's just something that has to happen. I feel like people like us can say something, but it really, depends on people that are higher up. Like, we can continue to fight for it, but someone higher up has to make that decision.
Okay. Any thoughts on the Brittany Griner situation?
For one, I feel like a player like Brittany Griner, drafted and everything, I feel like she shouldn't have to go overseas to make extra money for basketball. Like, I feel like if women, I may be wrong, I don't know like where she is, but I feel like if women were to have gotten paid more to play in the WNBA, I feel like she wouldn't have necessarily been in a position to have to go overseas to, make more money and, all that stuff. Like, you don't see NBA guys, postseason. I mean, the Las Vegas Aces, there were people that left to go overseas a couple weeks after they just won the championship. So again, that goes back to your last question. I feel like if it was more of a level playing field with that, she may not have been in that situation.
Do you feel like the support for women's basketball, do you feel like there'll be enough support to warrant the, you know, the bigger salary like the NBA guy? I mean, is that something that you think that'll eventually happen? You know, with, you know, it could be corporate sponsors, marketing dollars.
Yeah, I hope so. And honestly, I've had a lot more people in the past 2 years tell me that they've watched more women's basketball because of it, kind of the notoriety increase. And I feel like if that continues to grow, then yes, we could get to that point. So I mean, absolutely, I want it to happen. Will it happen? Hopefully in my lifetime, yes. But I don't know. I have no idea when.
Okay. All right. So switching gears, you started your own clothing line called Scripted Apparel.
Yes.
Talk about your inspiration for that project, and how long, when did you start it?
So inspiration behind it, my family had always kind of talked about it. I love to do different types of graphics and everything, just like doodling, drawing. So we were like, it would be cool to potentially have one of my graphics and somebody wear it. So we kind of went through that whole process, doing our research, lots of YouTubing, and figuring that out. So family was a big thing, and then Scripted, that's faith-based, just being grounded in your faith and knowing like where your foundation is. So that's the meaning behind it.
Okay, good stuff. So what's next for Kai? Any interest in coaching, or even putting the sneakers back on and hooping somewhere professionally? What's next?
So coaching, I'm actually volunteering with Millbrook High School on the varsity squad, and that's been going pretty well. It's on a weekend, so it's been good. I mean, I just love, you know, helping out the little kids. Again, going back a few questions back, I feel like my love now for the game is giving back, and the least I could do is give these kids, you know, the basketball knowledge I have to help them, you know, maybe instead of going D2, go D1, instead of going mid-major, go Power 5. And if I can do that, then I'm gonna help the kids do that.
For any young female aspiring to be a college basketball player, what would you say to them right now in terms of, you know, what it takes to make it on the college level? It doesn't have to be the ACC level, but what does it take to play college basketball for any young female aspiring to, you know, do what you did?
I have a couple of things. I guess you could say something I would tell my younger self. It's okay to say no. I used to be I kind of still am, a big people pleaser. So I think my parents used to say it. Sometimes you can be so unselfish that it's selfish. So it's like you're not helping yourself and you're trying to help everyone else around you. And it's not, at the end of the day, if you're not 100%, it's hard for you to give to someone else if you're not 100% yourself. I feel like I explained that terribly, but that, and like with it being okay to say no, there are people that are gonna have birthday parties, and you know, you may have a workout at 6 a.m. the next day. So it's either you sacrifice sleep and you have a terrible workout, or you know, you have to say no. And then the people that are really in your circle, that's the other thing, who you surround yourself with. People who are really in your circle, you'll know, because if you were to tell them your goals, they wouldn't necessarily pull you away. Or if you were to say no to going to that birthday party, they would be like, oh, okay, I get it. Maybe you can get the next one, or, you know, maybe we can grab lunch, instead of being upset about it. So I say that. And if it's going, again, if it was easy, everyone would do it. It's not going to be easy. There are going to be sacrifices that need to be made, and just keep pushing through. There are going to be days that you may not want to go to practice, and you got to go to practice. So that's what I would say.
Social media handle, you know, where people can, you know, find your clothing line, your workouts. I know you're working out kids. How can parents reach you, or how can kids reach you if they're interested in your apparel as well as working out?
So scripted_apparel is Instagram, as well as Instagram, call me Clutch03, I believe is the Instagram handle for the training. I'm not gonna lie, I have like maybe 2 pictures on there, but still working on that content. And then my like personal page, I do some just like me stuff, is Kai_Sierra, Cierai.
Okay. Last question before I let you get out of here. Who's the best athlete in the Crutchfield house?
I knew you were gonna ask that question. See, that is a great question. I feel like I should call my dad up in here. But let's see. I don't know. I'm a humble person, but I feel like my brother he's on to something right now. Mm-hmm. I feel like he's on to something. Because I mean, I've done track, of course, basketball, played volleyball. I haven't played softball. I tried tennis when I was a kid. So all those are checked off. I know how to swim, so I feel like that counts. Mm-hmm. My brother, baseball, football, he did some basketball, but my dad also did the same thing. Mm-hmm. But it's like, do you compare it to accolades, or do you compare it as just straight up? So give my brother a few more years to see what his accolades look like, and maybe we can have this conversation again.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Hey, well, Kai, I appreciate you taking time to come on the show. Hopefully later on down the road, I can, get you back on the show. Maybe it'll be a family thing with you and your father and your brother.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and thanks again for having me.
All right, everybody, this is Kai Crutchfield, Sports Talk with Playeragent3.